Welcome back to the Two Peas in a Podcast. I'm Davina.
And I'm Jamie, and we are here with our second Creepypasta reading.
And it's a Christmas special, except it's already Christmas.
We are just still
It's
in the
past
holiday
Christmas.
We're just still in the holiday spirit.
Yeah. It's a New Year's special. It's a Yule special.
We're a very jolly pair.
Exactly.
And, you know, unlike our listeners, we're gonna have to be working on editing this over the New Year's.
Yeah,
so
because we love you all so much.
that's our dedication to you all.
We put in the effort.
Yeah. Okay. So here we
Okay.
are with our second creepypasta, which is going to be the naughty list.
Because what fits the
By-
Christmas spirit better than
And Santa references.
creepy pastas
Creepy Santa references.
creepy Santa references.
Okay. Popcorn again, except these are very long paragraphs. It's fine.
Sure, go for
Yeah.
it.
12 seems to be the age when kids start putting the heat on their parents about the truth behind Santa. Were you 12 when you started questioning Santa?
Is it okay?
Did you ever question Santa?
I was one of those kids that held on to Santa for a very long time.
But in the back of my mind, you
Like,
knew.
I knew it was, I always knew it was, I think I only believed it till I was, 7 or so.
Mm-hmm.
But I held on to it until I was 13, and then I just gave up on it.
Eventually.
Yeah.
And then where are you at now?
We don't even give
the-
we don't even give gifts anymore.
Yeah. No, okay, it's really funny. Our family doesn't celebrate Christmas anymore. We used to when we lived in Shanghai. We had Christmas trees and we make it a tradition of decorating it and putting gifts on the tree and everything. But we stopped celebrating it after we moved. But really funny is I also just recently remembered Christmas is also my parents' wedding anniversary.
Seriously.
Yeah, I don't even
That's
know how
fun.
to manage it. That is fun, right? It's for a family where you don't celebrate Christmas, so make it
Yeah.
a special day by getting married.
Yeah.
But they don't celebrate that either.
Oh.
My mom
That's
texted
depressing.
my mom texted my dad, "Happy wedding anniversary," and he replied with yes.
That's who I want to be when I grow up.
Okay. I was certainly no exception to this 12 rule. How were Santa's elves able to make that video game I wanted in their workshop? I thought Nintendo owned Mario. Or how about that ever-famous visiting every house in one night question? Did the jolly man own some kind of time-extending device? Or perhaps the most obvious question of all, how could he have lived for this long?
A lot of people say he trains apprentices who take his place every few decades. Others claim he's just immortal. As for everything else, magic seemed to be the universal lie everyone had agreed on. Whatever the case, I just went with the conclusion that it was my parents' doing. Of course, they'd deny it and claim ignorance if I confronted them, but it wasn't enough to dissuade my beliefs.
So one Christmas Eve, when I couldn't sleep as these questions danced among my dreams of sugar cereals and new games, I decided to investigate the noises coming from my living room. This time, surely I would catch my dad or mom in the act of stowing presents under the tree. At least then they'd let me in on the truth.
But as I entered the living room, I saw a man that I did not recognize. He was dressed in red and white with a slightly overweight body, and he wore a stringy fake white beard. His hair, or what remained of it, was graying around the edges of his classic Santa hat, and his eyes were wide with fright as he dropped a present under the tree.
Being the intuitive youth I was, I came to one of two conclusions. Either this was a home invader stealing my family's gifts, or this was the real Santa. I opened my mouth to scream, but the man rushed towards me and covered my mouth.
Shh, shh. He put a finger to his mouth, trying to smile. Tears began to roll down my cheeks. I was petrified of this man. Then, slowly, he took back his hand and extended it towards me. It's all right there, little one. You know who I am, right?
I think Santa sounds more fuller than that.
It's all right there, little one. You know who I am, right?
Yeah, that's better.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I nodded, not shaking his hand back. The trembling man nodded as well, then grabbed an empty sack lying on the floor and gestured to the tree. Look, see? I bring gifts. Now run along to bed, or I might have to put you on the naughty list. He started drifting towards the deeper, hearty voice stereotypically associated with Kris Kringle, but I wasn't fooled. Who's Kris Kringle? Is that another name?
The power of... Sorry.
Google?
Yeah.
Is that another name for Santa Claus?
Kris Kringle may refer to Santa Claus by assimilating the United States of the separate German tradition of the Christkindl.
Christkind. That
Oh
is
God, what the fuck?
the traditional Christmas gift bringer in Austria, Switzerland, southern and western Germany, the Czech Republic, Croatia, Liechtenstein?
Oh, Luxembourg. That's what I was
You were
talking
thinking of
about. I was
Luxembourg?
thinking of Luxembourg.
Okay. Okay.
Regardless, I wiped my eyes and began to step back from the living room, trying to create some distance between me and the stranger. The man simply watched, wiped his brow, and proceeded to approach the fireplace. I stopped and observed, confused as to how he was going to leave my house, but a blast of green flames erupted from the chimney, and the man fell back to the floor. I couldn't see his face, but certain it was twisted in fear like my own.
That's reminding me of the whole, the Harry Potter green flame teleportation
flu.
thing. Is what it's called? The flu?
It's called the flu.
That's right. Oh, yeah, this is.
It's called flu powder and flu travel.
I would love teleportation powers.
Same. It's called like the teleportation. It's called like apparition.
Apparition, yeah.
Apparating. It sounds really weird to say it out loud.
Okay. A massive bony hand spawned from the fire, and the arm that followed was draped in raggedy fur. Then another arm, and then the skull of some wild creature with two large horns followed, nearly as large as the fireplace itself. The bones popped and snapped as it slammed its hands onto the floor. The entire monster was engulfed in the flame, yet it did not seem to burn anything in the house.
Eddie!
The monster declared, speaking to what I guessed to be the man on the floor.
No, Eddie shouted back. I did my part, see? 10,000 houses, just like you said, right? 10,000. I did my part.
And yet you allowed a human child to see you. You know the rules.
Look, I learned my lesson. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Just let me go. Please, I delivered all the...
Let you go? Did you let that woman go, Eddie? I don't seem to recall you letting her go. This was your second chance, and you've wasted it.
What are you going to do? Eddie whispered. I couldn't make out his quaking figure being overshadowed by the creeping creature in the fireplace. The next sound to be heard was a crunch, with a soft beginning and a snapping finish. I jumped as the sound repeated a few times, finally letting out a shaky breath. I prayed in my head that it wasn't what I thought, but when the creature reared its head towards me, I saw the red and white pants hanging from its mouth as it chewed on Eddie's corpse, then watched it slurp down its legs like strands of spaghetti.
It's romantic.
Are you getting, like, Lady and the Tramp?
I am thinking of Lady and the Tramp.
No. Santa's leg.
This could be us, but you play
This could be us.
I covered my eyes and tried to tell myself it wasn't real. And after a quiet minute, I peeked between my fingers to see the monster staring back at me from the fireplace. The pace of my breathing grew quicker and sharper, my eyes unable to escape from the grasp of those empty eye sockets.
Now, run off back to bed, little one, or else I might put you on the naughty list.
My legs finally found the strength to leave, and I sprinted for my parents' room, diving into the sheets of them. There wasn't a trace of the events of the night before when my family went down to the tree the next morning. There was even a little note next to an empty glass and a half-eaten cookie on the table. Have a Merry Christmas, S. Claus. As much as I tried to take in the warm, comforting atmosphere that came with Christmas Day, I wouldn't stop watching the fireplace, terrified that the monster would return.
At least, now I know the truth about Santa Claus.
I think that's just wrong. You don't know anything about Santa
don't know
Claus.
anything
That didn't question anything. That didn't answer anything. I just made up more questions.
Yeah. And I was really looking forward to it being a sex thing.
Between who and what?
No, like, it's called the naughty list.
Okay, well, that's because...
The website literally recommends normal porn for normal people.
Okay, but see, when you look at that picture, are you really thinking of anything sex-related?
For our audio listeners, which is literally everyone,
That's a gorilla.
The picture shown is a gorilla.
It's a gorilla.
It's a gorilla.
Next to a creepypasta titled Normal Porn for Normal People. That doesn't bode well for anyone.
That doesn't, no.
Let's look at the comments for this. Holy
Can't
shit.
even have a Merry Christmas in Ohio.
Holy shit, I think you just saw Krampus. It's the Krampus one.
Yeah.
We really like this pasta and narrated it on our channel. We love any feedback.
Hey, man.
That's nice.
That's us.
Not really.
That's us.
An interesting way to make a unique creepypasta without having to rely on gory elements.
Are you joking?
It's original for sure.
The entire creepypasta is relying on gory. It hinges on the guy, on the
Gory
monster eating the
language.
creepypasta, eating the Santa Claus.
Do you think, how scary is this on a scale from 1 to 10, you think?
0.
Yeah, it's not that scary.
I'm not scared.
It's not that scary.
I'm not freaked out. Santa Claus. What I'm curious about is how the parent, so Santa is real in this universe, and the parents
just don't question it.
Yeah,
They're
they're
just
like, sure.
you know
yeah, okay.
what? It's actually true that once a year, some man just breaks into her house and leaves some things for our kids.
We don't do it.
We're not gonna
We
question
don't
it.
know what's
It's fine.
going on.
It's like, Santa can be trusted.
Yeah, there's the implication Santa is a sexual predator.
Yeah.
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 So I think that's the scarier part, that there's a rapist coming into your home.
But no, supposedly his punishment is to then deliver
Their
these
gifts.
gifts. And
Which is-
Krampus is the one initiating that punishment.
Which is kind of that's kind of that makes sense.
That's
you,
an interesting setting. I
exactly
think.
You hurt
But then in
someone,
this
so your
case-
punishment is to
But
give
in this
joy.
case, it's really not that scary. Nothing bad
Yeah.
happened. A sexual predator got eaten.
Yeah, good
Well, it's
good for him.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for Krampus.
Good for Krampus.
It's like, good job, Krampus. I
We're-
respect you.
We're Team Krampus on this show.
Yeah. Really good story about Christmas. Definitely a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of the best scary Christmas stories I've ever read. He did awesome on this.
I think it was well written
Sure.
as like a short story by itself.
Sure.
Like, it was well written, but the plot itself just is not that scary. If
Yeah.
you're gonna list it as a creepypasta, it's a little more than just
Yeah. Hey, do you want to
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus? I feel like that's the one that everyone has
Merry
seen.
Chritmas.
Merry Chritmas.
That's an interesting title.
Let's see how long this is.
Oh, that's pretty long. You think?
I hope.
Okay, so we scrolled through the wiki for creepypastas under the tag of Christmas. Here we have another one that's titled Merry Chritmas without the S.
I'm just
That's it.
curious to see if this is just a bad typo or if it actually means something.
I hope it does. I thought it would mean some really bad video game reference with critical hits or whatever.
Yeah.
Alright, so to start reading this, would you like to go?
Sure. Today is 2 days away from the anniversary of my niece's death. No one knows how she died except her mother, who passed away recently, and me. I do not know who to tell, but I need to tell someone. No one would believe me anyway. They'd lock me up like they locked up my sister. I wouldn't blame them. I hardly believe what happened myself.
Bethany was going to be 10 years old the day after Christmas, the year she died. She still believed in Santa. I thought she was too old for that shit, but her parents thought it was cute. They did everything they could to keep her from realizing it was just a lie. Bethany loved Christmas and Santa and elves and all that. She used to tell me about an elf that would hide in her house. I just thought her parents must have been hiding a toy elf or something, but I asked them about it and they said they didn't have any elf dolls. I thought they were joking. You know the elf on the shelf?
Elf on the
dolls,
shelf, those are
those
creepy.
actually
They
used to
s-
freak me out so bad.
No, I agree. No, those are terrible. No, they have eyes and they don't have souls. They have souls.
They
don't have good
look
souls.
terrifying. Like, they obviously...
Yeah.
They were designed with the intent
They were designed to
scare.
freak people out. Bethany's
He
stories.
sees you when
You're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
Alright.
Bethany's stories about the elf started getting stranger. She told me that one night she woke up the elf sitting on the dollhouse next to her bed, watching her with its empty glass eyes. After that night, she said the elf turned bad. She said it would move around her room making strange noises at night, and she told me that if she tried to get out of bed, the elf would run towards her and bite and claw her feet and ankles. The elf, she said, had too many teeth which were long and thin but not pointed. She said its nails were long and sharp like claws. Of course, I didn't believe her, but then she showed me the scars and new bite marks. The bite marks were very normal human size, but very deep, but definitely with more teeth marks. That's when I started to worry. I didn't believe in the elf at that point. I thought maybe she was doing it to herself, and maybe she might have been seriously mentally ill. I wish I was right. I told my sister my concerns about her daughter. She was worried too, so she found a psychiatrist for her. I thought that would help Bethany, but as Christmas came nearer, she seemed to get worse.
I was staying over at my sister's house for Christmas Eve, and Bethany asked me to sleep in her room to protect her from the elf. I said yes. I thought it was a good idea so I could figure out what was going on with her. Maybe she was biting her own ankles in her sleep.
Very flexible child.
It's really impressive, actually.
Yeah.
That night, Bethany woke me up and asked me if I could get her some water. She didn't want to get up because she was afraid the elf would attack her. I didn't want to leave the poor girl in there alone, so I told her she had to come with me. She didn't want to come, but I wouldn't let her stay. I should have listened. Oh God, maybe she would still be alive if I listened. It's my fault she's dead.
When we got by the door, I saw it. The elf was tall with strange teeth and blank white eyes. I thought I was imagining it, so I turned on the lights. It didn't go away. I know I should have tried to leave, but instead I tried to take a picture of it. As soon as I did, it started running at us so fast I could barely see it. Everything happened so fast. Bethany, who had been standing so still, pushed me out of the room so hard I fell to the floor. The door slammed shut. All I could hear was a voice screeching so loudly. I could hardly hear Bethany's screams. It sounded like the voice was saying Merry Christmas, but I wasn't pronouncing it right. It sounded like Merry Chritmas. Anyway, I was trying to get back in the room, but the door was locked. I tried to kick it down, but I wasn't strong enough.
I ran into the kitchen to find something to break the door as I called the police. They thought it was a joke. I didn't understand how they didn't hear the screaming. How did her parents not wake up? I found a brick and decided that was good enough to make a hole in the door or something. Suddenly I heard a ripping sound, and the screams and screeches stopped. I cautiously opened the door, which somehow unlocked, and the walls and the bed and all her toys and furniture were bright red, soaked in her blood. On the floor, the elf was hovering over Bethany's corpse. It was split in half vertically, and the elf was wearing her intestines around its neck and eating them. I screamed louder than I ever screamed before. Bethany's mother finally came out of her room and saw what happened. She didn't even make a sound. She just stared at the horrifying scene. We closed the door and put things in front so it wouldn't open, and then we went into the living room to wait for the police.
When the police finally arrived, they questioned us and her husband, who hadn't heard a thing. I couldn't say anything. It was like a dream, so unreal. I just sat there staring into space. The only one who told the police what happened was my sister. The police removed a barricade from the front of Bethany's room, but when they opened the door, nothing was there. The blood was gone, the elf, Bethany, everything. The room looked totally normal, besides snow blowing in from the window. Everything was gone, like magic. The police started a search party. They thought she ran away. After everyone left, I stood in her room alone and cried. I heard the sound of bells, and then I heard the elf whispering, Merry Christmas. I ran out of there.
It's been a year now since Bethany's death. After Bethany died, my sister's mental health began to deteriorate. She boarded up the doors and the windows of Bethany's old room. She never slept anymore. We found her trying to cut open her stomach several times, and we had to have her live in the mental hospital, where she ended up killing herself by making a noose out of her bed sheets. Now I'm the only one who knows what happened. Everyone else still thinks she's missing. I don't go near that house anymore, and I can't bring myself to talk to Bethany's father, but no matter what I do to forget what happened, I can't. Sometimes I still hear that elf's voice at night, and I'm afraid it's gonna kill me next. It's almost Christmas. Written by Linguni.
I feel like this freaked you out more than it did the last one.
It's definitely, yeah, I think it's written in a scarier way.
Yes.
And also because we have, a prior dislike of Elf on the Shelf already.
Yeah, we have a prior fear of Elf on the Shelf. I feel like this one is less well written than the Naughty List, though.
It was less, as a story-wise, it was less well written.
Yeah, it was like somehow the door opened, I was like, okay, girl.
It was just, suspenseful.
No, you already knew what was gonna...
Yeah, it's kind of obvious.
I'm very critical. I was like...
The events that are happening are more obvious, but I think the events in this case is more scary.
It is more horrifying. Yeah.
Wait, so the
Merry
elf,
Christmas, babe.
The elf was split in half vertically?
No, Bethany was split in half vertically. She was ripped in half.
Does that count as dismemberment? Isn't that
Yes.
bisectment instead?
Girl, what?
Bisecting.
I mean, you were still dismembered. Your torso was separated from your torso.
Okay, I like this one though. I like this
Yeah.
more than the naughty list one.
It's heavy. Like, you don't, like, we didn't crack jokes during it. Like I tried.
we can
It couldn't work.
Are
It
you
didn't
gonna
work.
have nightmares about Elf on the Shelf now?
I don't think so. I don't have any elves on shelves in my house.
That's what you think.
Oh my gosh.
That's what you think.
I'm gonna wake up tonight. It's like Merry Christmas. I'm like,
Merry
Jesus Christ.
I'll call you at midnight and just whisper Merry.
I'm like, You change my ringtone to Merry Christmas and you call me in the middle of the night.
I live to entertain.
Yeah.
I live to delude.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right.
You live to bamboozle.
So that's the end of our
holiday special.
Our holiday special.
Our Christmas special.
Okay. Would you like to do the sign off?
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and happy holidays.
I have been
Girl.
No. You have been Davina.
You have been Jamie.
We had a very fun time reading these.
And we hope you had a good time too.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Merry belated Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year's. Yay!
Two Peas in a Podcast is an extension of the Pen and Palette magazine, voiced by Jamie L. and Davina J, with music by our dear friend Ethan H. and background ambience by Yevhenii Kovalenko from PIxabay. The stories read in today's episode is The Naughty List by RedNovaTryant and Merry Christmas by Linguni. Like Creepypastas, check out a column dedicated to them on penandpalette.com with animations, humor, and more. Found in the link in our description or through pen-and-palette.com. If you were so kind to stay to the end, let us know by sharing a New Year's resolution in the comments. Y'all are so amazing. Have a great start to the new year. Lots of love and bye!